I've had some issues with our Samsung dishwasher leaking out of the bottom. We have a Samsung suite of appliances in our home. It's about a year and a half old, and all of a sudden, about a couple weeks ago, our dishwasher started dripping water out from the front. Right underneath the door, and so I did some research and looked at some other videos online just to see exactly what other people had found. Saw a lot of videos of people showing where their dishwasher was leaking, and there were some similarities into what we were having, but then there were some differences, and we actually had two separate leaks and we couldn't figure out why. We had one on the left side of the door, like the left toward the middle, and I'll show you that, and then we had one over in the far right corner. And there are two vents underneath the Samsung dishwashers, and I'll show you that. I also checked out the diaphragm video for how to clean the diaphragm for letting the steam out, so I did that as well, and we still had the same issue. And so I tore the front of the door off, which was very simple, just removing some screws with the door open. There are screws around the edge, you just remove those, and the front panel comes off. And so I'm going to turn the camera back around and I'll show you. So here we have the dishwasher door, front of the door taken off. It's really just a piece of sheet metal or stainless steel with some insulation on the back of it, nothing hard. It was very easy to take off. Again, there was just some screws that go around the front of the dishwasher. Again, here's the front of the dishwasher. Those screws all the way around the top come out, and then that front just lifts off. So here is what the inside of the door of the dishwasher looks like. And from what I've heard, a lot of people are having issues with water dripping out from right here. And I'll show you how to fix that and what is the cause of that. We had water dripping out from there, and then we also had water dripping out from over here, which I assumed was also part of the vent system, was where the water was coming from. But as I dug a little deeper, I was wrong. So we're going to start over here with this issue. So there was originally a little brass screw here. Little brass screw just screws into there, and then this little brass screw here screws into here and holds this on. So I've taken those out, and I lifted this off and just kind of pulled this little metal strap back that holds everything tight together. And I looked back, and the water was actually not coming out of the vent, but it was running down the back of the vent. And I said, well, what is that from? So dug a little deeper and found that this little tiny piece of foam insulation, I'll pull that out, had fallen down into the water well, which you'll see some of the water down there. What had happened was it was sucking up water on one side and dripping it down the other, and you can see how that's been deformed from sitting down in that well for so long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some simple glue just to glue it back up to where it needs to be. If you look at the left side, you'll see how that sits up. So this is the top of the water well here, and you see there's about 3/4 of an inch of distance there, whereas on this side it was sitting completely down in the water, and it was just dripping the dishwater down through the vent. So it was a big misconception that it was actually coming through the vent, when it was actually just this piece of foam that was sucking water out of the well and dripping it down the side of the vent. So I figured that part out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put it back here, a little bit of glue. And you see I've moved it up a little bit so that now when I go to put this back on, that piece of foam you'll see is far from clear, or it's very clear from the water well, so it won't have the opportunity to suck up water and drip it down. That's probably the least common of the issues of the Samsung dishwasher leaking out of the bottom of the door. The most common that people are complaining about is dripping out of this left vent. So out of this left vent, as we take a look at the overall venting system for the steam, you'll see that there are a lot of different channels, and some people might not understand why. So what you have here is you have a fan. This fan, it's a centrifugal fan like a squirrel cage, and what it does is it pulls the steam out of the dishwasher and blows the air out of these channels. Now you might ask, well, why doesn't it just blow out of one channel and be done with it? Well, When you pull air, you're putting a vacuum on it, and you want as the steam cools down, it's going to condensate, and that condensate creates water. So what Samsung has done is they've created separate channels, so that as the air comes out and the more steam comes out, most of the steam is going to come down this main channel here and go out here. But if you'll notice, that doesn't drain out from the bottom of the vent. Nope. I'll show you where that goes. If you look underneath this dishwasher, there's this little lip right here. And if you can look real close, in the bottom of, on the back side of that lip, there's a hole. So when the water comes down, most of the steam and condensate comes down this channel, it comes down, gets down to here, and then will run out the bottom of this hole. And it's supposed to go back into the pan. And I'll put my finger in here, and you'll see that that's where the water is. And the dishwasher is running right now. So I highly recommend that you do not do this with the dishwasher running and or power connected to it. But you'll see this white residue here. So this white residue is just salt, hard water coming out of the dishwasher. And you'll see that it's also here as well. Well, when I stuck my finger back there the first time, I got a bunch of that white stuff. You'll see, like, there's a piece of it right there. A bunch of that white hard water residue. What it had done under here, it had bridged from this piece of plastic down to here, and instead of running back in the pan, had run down the front, or had run across here and then down the vent, making it look like there was water coming out of the vent. However, it was really just the condensate that's supposed to go back into the washer, connecting, dripping, and then looking like it was coming out of the vent. Most of your problems will be solved if you take your pan and just reach up in there and just break the bridge. So there's probably some hard water deposit in there. Just reach up in there, break the bridge. I'm going to take mine a step further, and I'm going to make sure that it drips off of this little ledge. And I'm going to take I have some tin snips. Now, I would not recommend doing this to anybody that's not comfortable. I'm going to take some tin snips and raise the plastic up. So I'm going to cut like a little notch from here and up. And what that's going to do is that's going to give, since water wants to flow downhill, water's not going to arbitrarily go up and then back down. It's going to be forced to drip off this bottom ledge to go anywhere. So when it's forced to drip off that bottom ledge, it's going to go into the pan. And as you see, that's exactly what's happening. Look at that, perfect timing. Just kicked on to the high temp phase, and now we're starting to get some water, and now you see where the water is actually dripping from. But for anybody that's not paying attention, they would think that, hey, that's coming out of my vent. But it's not. Look where it's coming from. And that's exactly where it's coming from. So I'm going to take my snips and make sure that I snip that and make sure that that thing is forced to drain back in there. Now this is a design flaw. The other thing I'm going to do is that this lip here on the edge of this drain pan, it's really, really close to the edge. And this metal strap here is really not that tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of foam that I have, and I'm going to put a little piece of foam back behind here to put a little more pressure to push this back in, so that when I do finally get that snip done, I know darn well that that is now over the pan and not over the edge. So once this is all done, I'll show you the completed project, and hopefully this will help some of you out there that are having some frustrations with your Samsung dishwashers. Alright, so I've completed the repairs. What I've done here, again, is I've taken a piece of kind of just foam that we had here. It was kind of like packing foam. Again, added it to the back of the strap. Gone ahead and glued up that piece of foam on the right hand side so it doesn't sit in the water well. And then I'll show you the modification that I made. Again, be careful doing this because you could damage the vents. But over here what you'll see is that I've snipped out part of this plastic here, and if you again look under here on the back side of this, there's a hole that sends the majority of the condensate and or water that may get up into the vent system back into the water tray. So this was really it was just running right back over here and dripping straight down. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've snipped that so that the water now drains over, and then I've added this piece of foam here behind the strap so that I make sure that I push that tray back over so that water, when it does come down, that hole drips right into the tray and not down this front ledge here. So I'm going to finish putting the dishwasher back together and put it through a round of dishes, and I'll let you know how we do. Okay, so we're back together. We are about 5-10 minutes into a wash. Gone ahead and put the front of the dishwasher back on, as well as I've gone ahead and put the kick plate back on as well. We're going to go ahead, I have no signs of water yet. Everything seems to be running pretty smooth, so I'm going to go ahead and put my piece of cabinet trim back on and complete my work underneath the Samsung dishwasher. Now, this is a problem that's causing water and a lot of damage to people's cabinets. It's caused damage to part of our cabinetry. As you can see, the water has swelled our piece of cabinet trim, and it started to peel up the MDF off of the wood. So, this is an issue. Thankfully, I can recreate this piece that goes underneath of our custom cabinets, but still a little frustrating. The other issue is that water gets back there, and you can see this lovely stuff. This is a problem that Samsung is going to have to address at some point in time. They really need to step up to the plate and offer a solution to their customers. We spent about $2,500 on the appliances in our home. All of our TVs are Samsung. All of our home phones are Samsung. Hell, our baby monitor is a Samsung. So it's pretty disappointing to hear that they weren't going to take care of this out of warranty, as well as knowing that they have a problem that they have to fix. That really could have been fixed in the factory with a little bit of glue for the foam, and a little bit better drainage system for the main condensate vent. But hopefully this helps you understand, and if you hire somebody to come out and fix your Samsung dishwasher, please show them this video. This will help them understand what needs to be fixed. Thanks. Take care. Bye.